So we have finished from the fractions. Today our lesson is about decimal numbers. So we will start now with chapter 4, decimal numbers. We took in grade 4 what are the decimal numbers, how do we write them in letters, and how do we write the expanded form of any number. Let's revise. What do I mean by decimal numbers and into how many parts is divided these decimal numbers. طيب. Who will remind me or who will give me examples of decimal numbers? Raise your hand. Examples. Give me a decimal number.
I don't remember them. I don't remember.
Okay, the one who remember the decimal numbers, please raise your hand. Before I start revising, who will tell me examples of decimal numbers? Leia.
Like can we do like 25.30?
Excellent. Bravo, Leia. Proud of you. 25.30 is a decimal number. Excellent. Bravo, Leia. Thank you. So
16.5.
16.5 and so on. Plenty of decimal numbers. We know plenty of decimal numbers. طيب. Before we start, when we'll talk about decimal numbers, why are we talking about decimal numbers, not whole numbers? من وين اجت decimal number? Do you know? From where?
I don't remember.
Type. Look why. If we have, for example, a square, we divide it into 10 equal parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All parts should be of same size equally, okay? And if we draw also another square, we divide it the same into 10 equal parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. If I colored the first square, all of it, totally colored. كله, first square هو totally colored. Okay?
Okay.
If I colored and the second one, just 3 parts. So, listen carefully. How do we write the fraction that represents the colored part in the second square? فرح شبلي
10.3.
فرح, the fraction that represents the colored part in this square.
3/10.
3/10. Excellent. طيب. What is the fraction, يا أحمد, that represents the colored part in the first square?
10.
10 out of
10.
10. We colored 10 parts out of 10. So it's the same as 1.
It's 1.
It's the same as 1.
Equal to 1.
Okay. Listen carefully. Teacher, دايما بالدecimal numbers. We'll talk about decimal numbers. If we divide any shape into 10 equal parts or 100 or 1000 اللي هني multiples of 10 اللي هني 1 with zeros. Okay? We can't talk about decimal numbers unless we divide this shape into decimal fractions into 10, 100, 1000 and so on. أنا ما فيي أحكي إذا عملت له divide into 3 equal parts أو 4 أو 5. We can't. Just if we are dividing this shape into how many parts?
10 and 100 and 1000.
Excellent.
1
Bravo.
million.
Bravo. 1 million and so on. So if we divide any shape into 10, 100, 1000, 10,000 and so on, we will talk about decimal numbers. طيب.
Why can't we put it, 200?
No. Just one with zeros. One with zeros. Ali, wait a minute. Now I started. Please listen. هلا. In order to write the decimal number, how do we write it here? we look دايما يا teacher in any shape if we are coloring more than the total. For example, here in the first shape, we colored the first one, all of it, then we colored the three more parts. So we are coloring more than the total by 3 parts. 3 more parts, so we will talk about decimal number. طيب, how many squares here are full colored?
10.
1.
1. We said that 10 over 10 he is the same as 1. So means that we have to write 1 point. How many parts did we color here in this square?
3.
3.
1.3.
So 1.3. Like this we write the decimal number. It's 1.3. So دايما ال1 means that 1 square is full colored. The 3 means we colored in the second one just the 3 parts. So the first number here, the number of the parts that are full colored, here a part of them are colored. 3 parts just are colored. Okay, so 1.3 means 1 is full colored and 3 parts are colored out of 10. Okay, type. If you look at this number, 1
is full. 1 is 10 over 10 is full.
1 it's the same as 10 over
1
10.
you
Yes.
mean?
Yes.
Yes.
1.3. If you look at this decimal number, 1.3, 1.3 is composed of 3 parts. 3 parts. The first part, اللي هي ال1, to the left side of the point, we call it whole part. 3 اللي هي to the right side of the point, we call it decimal part. نحن عندنا 2 parts, whole part and decimal part. The whole part to the left side of the point, قبل البوينت. Decimal part where to the right side
بعد
of the point.
البوينت.
Exactly. So 1 is the whole part, 3 is the decimal part. Who will tell me why did we name 1 as whole? ليه أنا سميت ال1 whole part مالنا decimal part? That's it, proud of you. We colored it all. For this reason we write whole. Whole part, why? Because we colored it all. لأنه the whole part represents the parts that are full colored. The square اللي هو full colored. Okay?
Yes.
Type. Why did we name 3 as decimal part? Why it's decimal part? Because we colored
only 3 parts of
only
the box.
3 parts out of how much?
Out of 10.
Out of 10. Excellent. Bravo. So when I say 1.3 means 1 square is full colored and we have 3 parts are colored out of 10. Okay?
Yes.
Clear?
Yes.
Clear.
Yes.
Okay. Type. For this reason, we are talking about decimal numbers because we are coloring more than the total. So we will talk about decimal numbers if we are
Coloring more than the total.
more than the total. And into how many parts the decimal number is divided into?
2 parts.
2 parts. Name them.
The decimal part.
Whole part and decimal part. Excellent. The whole part represents what?
1.
The whole part. The whole part represents the color
is colored.
Full color.
Full
Decimal
color.
part.
Yeah.
Not the full color. Bravo. But when I say, for example, علي غريب, tell me 2.8 represents what? 2 represent, what does it mean, 2?
2 presents 2 squares are full colored.
Bravo.
And 8 over 10 are
Excellent.
colored of 1 square.
Proud of you. Bravo. So 2 squares are full colored and 8 means 8 parts out of 10 are colored. Bravo. Dana غريب.
Yeah.
Dana.
Yes.
3.5, what does it mean?
3 squares are
Full.
color.
3 squares are full and 5 are colored.
5 are colored out of how much?
5 no, out of 10.
Out of 10. Excellent. Bravo. That's it. So 5 out of 10 are colored. So is it clear, ya teacher? Is it clear till now? Okay. So عندنا whole part وعندنا decimal point. هيدي البوينت يا teacher we name it decimal point وعندنا decimal part. Okay? So
Yes.
نحنا we can talk about decimal numbers just if we are dividing the square into how many parts?
Into
10 or
Teacher,
whole,
10, 100, 1000,
1000 and so on. Bravo.
1 million.
Teacher, it has to be
1
1 and
million.
0.
1 and zeros. Excellent. Bravo. Yeah.
Yes.
Now the place value chart. هيدا the place value chart, it's so important. You have to study them. You can copy them on a draft paper, but when I finish, let me explain now, then I will give you time. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah. بهيدا the place value chart, we will know the place value of each digit. نحن قلنا for example إذا كان عندنا number big decimal number، إذا كان عندنا 1295.3567. What is the whole part here in this number?
It's 1295.
What is the decimal part?
3,567.
In this activity, we will know what is the place value of each digit in the whole part. يعني what is the place value of 5, of 9, of 2, of 1. And we will know also the place value of each digit in the decimal part. هن ال 3 وال 5 وال 6 وال 7. لما أقول place value, I mean ones, tens, 100,000, like this. Okay? So, هيدي الديسيمال point here. This is the decimal point. نحن عندنا two parts. عندنا whole part to the left side of the point وعندنا decimal part to the right side. اوكي؟ طيب. دايما بالwhole part أنا حبلش بأي digit، بس بدي بلش بالplace value. الwhole part أنا حبلش بال5 or بال1. دايما we have to start from the digit that is beside the decimal point. Did you see the point here? Beside it, which digit do we have, 5 or 1?
Yes.
5. So دايما أنا ببلش with two digits that are next to the point. We have to start from the 5 بالwhole part. وبالdecimal part you have to start with
From the ones.
with what?
3.
3.
With 3.
يعني بالدecimal part أنا ببلش بال3 وبالwhole part ببلش بال5 اللي هن two digits that are next to the point. طيب نحن قلنا إنه الwhole part means the squares that are full colored. okay? طيب ممكن تكون الwhole part 1 إذا عندنا 1 square is full colored. ممكن تكون 2 إذا عندنا 2 squares are full colored. Or 3 if we have 3 squares are full colored and so on. طيب أنا هعتبر الwhole part it's look like a whole number. الwhole number نحن إذا عندنا whole number 1295 شو البليس فاليو للفيرست ديجيت عادي بالنمبر العادي اللي هو منه ديسيمال؟ شو البليس فاليو للفيرست ديجيت؟ ones, then tens, hundreds, thousands. So أنا الwhole part هعتبرها مثل الwhole number. دايما ببلش ones, tens, 100,000. Is it clear the whole part?
Yes.
Whole part easy. It's the same. It's the same as the whole number. Ones, tens, 100,000. اسعى الغرايب.
But in teacher, in the decimal part.
لا wait. Now we will start with the decimal part. But is it clear the whole part?
Yes.
Okay. Ones, tens, 100,000. كمان فينا نكمل 10,000, 100,000, then million, 10 million, 100 million, then billion, and so on. Okay? طيب.
Yes.
هلا الديسيمال بارت نحن قلنا decimal part represents the shapes that are the parts that are full colored.
No.
Full colored.
Part of it is colored. For example, if you are coloring 3 parts out of 10 or 4 parts out of 10 and so on. Okay? طيب. نحن مش عم نعمل coloring just مثلا for example 3 parts out of 10.
Yes.
Okay, يعني a part of it. So هون يا teacher نحن we have to start with 3 اللي هي next to the decimal point but there is no ones. ليه؟ لأن هي منا whole number. نحن عم نحكي على part من الفيجر هو colored. هون نحن عم نحكي عن fractions صرنا، لأنه الديسيمال part هي represent a fraction. It's not a whole number. ليه represent a fraction؟ لأنه نحن قلنا إذا كان عندنا بالسكوير 3 parts are colored out of 10 or 4 parts are colored out of 10. So we're talking about fraction. Fraction, how do we write 3 over 10 for example in letters? 3 what?
310.
فيش 100 يا علي. How do we write 3 over 10 in letters? 3
3
3 times.
1.3.
How do we write it in letters 3 tenths? دايما نحن حتى نكتب اي fraction in letters بنكتب النيوميريتور اللي هو 3 بعدين الدينومينيتور 10 مع تي اتش. So 3 tenths. لأنه الديسيمال part represent a fraction for this reason we have to place th at the end. لأنه الفراكشنز دايما نحن بنحط لهم th. Okay?
Yes.
There is no ones. ليه؟ لأنه we said that we are dividing the square into 10 or 100 or 1000 اللي هني 1 with zeros. يعني نحن ما عندنا ones، عندنا يا 10 يا 100 يا 1000 and so on. So there is no ones in the decimal part. We have to start with tenths or hundredths or thousands. Okay, and so on. So دايما الفيرست digit بالديسيمال part الفيرست digit هي tenth. يعني أنا ما عندي ones بالديسيمال part. 10 بزيد لها تي اتش بتصير tenth. 100 بتصير hundredths. 1000 شو بتصير؟ كان عندنا 10,000 شو بتصير؟ 10,000 بعدين 100,000 million and so on. اوكي نفس الطريقه بس الفرق انه ما عندنا ones وبالاخر عم نحط تي اتش. اوكي
Yes.
that's it. هيدا البليس فاليو تشارت بليز فور ستادي. لوك write them on a draft paper. على draft paper ما تكتبوا ال 10 وال 100 اللي هن فوق هدول منن مهمين. اكتبوا بس decimal point with dashes ones, tens, 100,000 on the other side or take a screenshot.
بس أنا أعمل screenshot.
How do I screenshot on the laptop?
screenshot بال insert. في عندنا كلمة insert يا فرح على الكيبورد.
Yeah.
Just press on it.
Teacher, you can also put that we can write, then we save the file.
Yes. Okay.
Teacher, may I ask you something?
Yes يا آدم.
I don't understand it very well.
طيب I'll repeat. Teacher هيدي بس you have to study them. You have to study the place value of each digit. أنا هعطيكم example. إذا كان عندنا نحن هيدا الديسيمال number.
Can you let us draw so I can save it because I am on the iPad?
Okay يلا.
You can take a screenshot of it.
Yeah.
Yes. Save. I'm done.
Okay. For example يا آدم if we have مثلا 1295.7856 نحن بدنا نعرف البليس فاليو لكل ديجيت. اوكي بهذا الديسيمال نمبر. دائما بنبلش نحن هيدي الهول بارت with 7,856 is the decimal part. دايما بس بدي بلش بالبليس فاليو انا حبلش بالتو ديجيتس that are next to the point. مين هن يا ادم التو ديجيتس that are next to the point؟ بالهول بارت ال5 وال1 or 1 we have to start. 5 حبلش بال5 اللي هي next to the point. طيب وبالديسيمال بارت we have to start with 7 or 6. 7 هيا two digits that are next to the point from each side. Okay? Clear till now?
Yes.
طيب الهول بارت دايما انا هعتبرها كهول نمبر عادي. شو ببلش يا ادم بالهول بارت دايما؟ شو البليس فاليو لاول ديجيت؟ ones. Then thousand. That's it. يعني كأنها هي رقم عادي بلش ones, tens, 100,000. يعني الفايف هي الوانز ديجيت، 9 هي التنز، التو هي ال100 وال1 هي 1000 digit. Is it clear the whole part Adam? Okay.
Yes.
بالديسيمال بارت الفرق بينه وبين الهول بارت يا آدم إنه ما عندنا ones. There is no ones. ليه؟ لأنه نحن دايماً عم نعمل dividing by 10, dividing by 100. يعني we have to say tenth, hundredth. Okay? ما عندنا ones نحن. نعمل كروس للones. هون شو بنبلش؟ مش هون عندنا tens بالother side بتصير tenth مع th. شو بتصير؟ Excellent. Tenth. Then hundredth. Then thousandth. Then
100,000.
لا قبل ال100 في عندنا 10,000.
10,000.
Yes لأنه كل family هي divided into ones, tens, 100. يعني 1000 هي the same as 1000. 10,000.
ما بنحط ones
لا ما في داعي. 1000.
نحسب شيء 5 teacher.
10,000. 100,000 and so on. Okay, so is it clear يا آدم؟
It's easy.
اوكي so دايما بالهول بارت ببلش 1 tens 100,000 بالديسيمال بارت ما عندي ones بلش tens 100 and so on. اوكي
يعني ما بنكتب الفايف بنبلش دغري من 9 to 1.
بالديسيمال بارت ما عندنا ones دغري بنبلش ايه tens 100,000.
طب بالهول بارت
بالهول بارت no we have to start with ones tens 100. حتى ما في داعي نكتب PH بالهول بس بالديسيمال بارت. Yeah. Now, yeah, teacher, how do we write decimal numbers in letters? It's so easy. Yeah. أهم شيء بس اللي بياخد وقت هو ال place value chart اللي اشتغلناه هلا هدول كتير سهلين. Yeah. How do we write any decimal numbers in letters? إذا عندنا for example 6.3 شو بعمل؟ الwhole part هي 6. So I will write 6. البوينت I will write it as and. شو بكتب البوينت as what? And يعني 6 and. The decimal part here is
3.
so 6 and 3. Then I look. شو ال
We
place
add
value? What is the place
TH.
value of 3? What is the place value of 3? 10th. لأنه هي ال first digit. First digit في decimal part. So we have to say 10th. First. يعني I will write the whole part 6. The point is written as and. برجع decimal part 3. I look. If we have just one digit in the decimal part, we have to say 10th. يعني هون عندنا just 3. هي one digit. So we have to say 10th. لما يكون عندنا 2 digits بالdecimal part, we have to say what? 100. لما يكون عندنا 3 digits بالdecimal part, we have to say 1,000. Excellent. That's it.
4 digits. What we say?
10,000. 10,000. Yes. So 6 and 3 tenths. طيب. آدم عيديبة. How do we write 0.2 in letters?
0 and 2 tenths.
0 and 2 tenths. Excellent. So 0 and 2 tenths. We have to write 10.
زيرو يا teacher.
هلا لحظة شوي أحمد. 2 tenths لأنه عندنا just one digit in the decimal part. Yes أحمد. 0 and فينا ما نكتبها هي it's nothing. We can write quickly 2 tenths. Okay?
Okay.
طيب. دانا غريب. نحن وقفنا عند دانا غريب المرة الماضية. يلا يا دانا. How do we write 10.3 in letters?
10 and 3 tenths.
100.
Excellent. Tenth. لا يا أحمد.
tenths.
الديسيمال بارت عندنا 1 digit. So 10 and 3 tenths.
100.
برافو.
10.
tenth. حلا شعيتو.
Yes.
يلا how do we write 0.29 in letters?
0.2900.
0 and 2900. Okay, bravo Hala. So we have to say 100 because how many
2900.
digits? How many digits?
digits.
Two digits. Bravo. It's
Two
0
digits.
and we can skip it. 0 and we can skip it. We can write it quickly 2900. طيب Hala Najm.
Okay.
Yes.
10.31. How do we write it?
10 and 3900.
Excellent. 10 and
31.
3100. لأنه عندنا 2 digits. برافو حلا.
Yes.
So is it clear how do we write them? Thousands.
Yes. Yes.
Is it clear how do we write them in letters?
Yes.
Yes.
Now the question is I will reverse the question هلا يا teacher. أنا حأعطيكم هلا اللتر form. أنتوا بدكم تعرفوا decimal number. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah. For example, we are doing in term. Wait, listen. For example, 8 and 3/10. How do we write it as a decimal number? Look how. 8 أنا بكتبها 8. 8. ال8 هي 8.
8.3.
and means point. صح؟
Yes.
طيب. ال 3/10. ال 10th here, what does it mean? 1 digit. Excellent. ما بتعني انه انا بدي احط 10 بالديسيمال بارت، لا بتعني انه عندنا 1 ديجيت بالديسيمال بارت. هيا انا حطيت 1 داش.
The first digit.
بهيدي الداش انا شو حاكتب هون؟ مين هي ال 10th digit؟
3.
3. بتصير 8.3. That's it. Okay? So 8 and means point. 3/10. ال 10th بتعني عندنا just 1 digit, it's 3. طيب. Let's ask now حسن آسم.
Easy.
حسن آسم.
تيتشر مش هم ما كتبوا and.
إيه ما في and يعني قد ايه الهول بارت يا علي غريب؟
0.
0. برافو دانا. excellent. it's 0 ما في and so 0. نحن قلنا يا علي غريب بالprevious question. هيا حارجع عليه هون 0 and 2900 فينا نعمل skip للزيرو دغري بنكتبها 2900. يعني لما تكون الهول بارت 0 ما في داعي اكتب 0 and دغري بكتب 2900. اوكي؟ exactly. طيب حسن حوراني. حوراني يلا how do we write 7/10? حسن آسم ما عم برد. حسن آسم. آسم are you here؟ منو. طيب حسن حوراني يلا how do we write 7/10? 0.7. excellent. So no and means no whole part. okay? طيب ال 10th بتاعنا عندنا just 1 digit in the decimal part, it's 7. So 0.7. clear?
7.
Okay.
Yes.
Now another question. How do we change the decimal numbers to fractions? We still have just 2 minutes. Yeah, look how. For example, if we have 0.4, how do we write it as a fraction? Who will tell me?
4 over 0.
4 over
0.
Oh my God.
4 over 0.
Remember, 4, what does it mean?
4 over 10.
4 over 10.
10.
4 over 10. Bravo.
4
Not
over
4 over
10.
0. I can't say 4 over 0.
I said it, yeah, teacher. I said it.
Yes, Ahmad Udana. Yes, more than one said it. Bravo. So 4 over 10.
0 بالفراكشن على فكرة.
برافو. ما فينا نحط 0 بالدينومينيتور. So 0.4 4 means 4 parts out of 10 are colored. So it's the same as 4 over 10. Okay?
4 over 10.
طيب. Or we can do it in another way. 0.4 we can write it in letters. How do we write 0.4 in letters?
4
Bravo.
4 tenths.
4 tenths. How do we write it as a fraction? 4 over what?
4 over 10.
4 over 10.
So 4 over 10. So you can first write it in letters, then change it to fraction.
بس يعني لما يكون مثلا 0.7 من all 7 over 10.
Yes, that's it. Let's do more
Teacher,
examples.
You're gonna
Now,
give us homework. You're gonna give
جود
us
عودة.
homework.
No, 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 no
علينا
homework.
والhomework
No
اليوم.
homework. جود عودة.
Yes.
عودة.
yes.
يلا يا جود.
Yes.
0.05. How do we write it as a fraction يا جود?
5 over 10.
لا.
Teacher, can I say it, please?
Teacher.
500.
Teacher, can I say
Wait,
it?
جود عم تحكي teacher ما عم بسمعها. جود, first write this number in letters. How do we write it in letters يا جود?
سهلة.
جود.
Yes.
How do we write it in letters? 0.05.
Can't hear you well.
How do we write it in letters?
He's telling you
0.05.
how do we write 0.05 in letters.
Yeah. 500.
500. Excellent. 500. طيب هلا change it. 500. How do we write it as a fraction?